It's another fine Tuesday morning. How are you doing? 1st of December 2020. It is James Okumu on Parenting Tuesday. Karibu December and karibu to our discussion today. You know, December is here, meaning January is just around the corner. Do you realize that December will be full of activities? We have Jamhuri Day, then we wait for Christmas Day, then there's Boxing Day, and then we get into the Happy New Year, and then 3 days later our children are supposed to be reporting back to school. And there's a new calendar where our education system is concerned that was rolled out sometime last month. And the question is, as a parent, have you understood that calendar? Especially if you're a parent with a candidate. Do you know what that means? Have you adjusted to that calendar, or are you at a place where, by the way, you really don't understand what's going on? You're just waiting for January to come forth, children go back to school as kawaida. But is it going to be kawaida? Because when they go in January, they are going to be going for their second term, not their first term as we are used to. So how well have you adjusted to the new calendar? And by the way, this new calendar, is it practical or is it putting a heavy load on our children? That's the discussion we want to have on Parenting Tuesday today as we focus on the new school calendar. So I'm asking you as a parent, hii calendar, umeielewa? Have you understood this calendar? Have you really looked at it? Have you thought through it? Have you adjusted yourself? Because a lot of things go into getting our children to school, whether it is school fees and all these other things. Have you understood it? If you have any questions for us today regarding this discussion, 20316, or maybe concerns about the new school calendar, let me know what your concerns are as we get into this discussion. 20316 is the SMS line, and the WhatsApp number is 0786 316 316. Let's get the show on the road. It is a beautiful day, 1st of December, and it is Tuesday, Parenting Tuesday. We're focusing on the new school calendar and asking ourselves, are we ready for it? Have we understood it as parents? Do we know what that means to us as parents, especially parents with candidates and all that? That's what we want to look at today. Joining me in studio via Zoom, I have Tabitha Ogango. Tabitha is passionate about education, a teacher, a musician, entrepreneur. Tabitha, how are you doing? Tabitha, are you there? Tabitha, are you there?
Okay. Hi,
yes.
Hi,
I realize I'm trying to talk to you and my Zoom is on mute. So I'm wondering, why is she not responding? Kumbe, I have muted myself. Good to have you on board. Karibu sana.
Asante.
Here we are. I'm telling you. You know, I just remembered you are a musician and you guys usually do some Christmas thing. Inaonekana hii mwaka hatutakuwa na ka Christmas cantata or something like that.
Hii mwaka nakwambia ni inaitwa reset. Hii mwaka inaitwa reset. Hata Christmas itakuwa na new normal.
New normal. Wow. So today we are looking at this new school calendar. And the first thing I'm asking myself as a parent is, have we parents understood what it's all about?
I mean, it's a difficult one, Pastor James, because, I mean, it's a new thing. The beauty of it is that, in a sense, by the end of 2023, the school calendar will come back to what we know it as.
Okay.
But then the tricky bit is that we are not fully in control. I mean, if schools don't reopen in January for some reason, then there could be some shaking there. And also, if we don't have a plan for what happens when children test positive in the school, those 14 days, and if some have to go away, then what happens, But I guess the plan itself, in terms of trying to, catch up, is a good plan. It will be a little more strenuous for the children and the teachers, but it is a good plan.
It is a good plan. Okay, so let's dig into it and try and understand it, because when you've been doing something for so long, when it changes, sometimes you're caught off guard because in your mind, shule zinafungua January, tarehe 4 na tunaanza first term. But that's not the case.
Deal. Yes.
Yeah.
Now this go ahead.
Yeah. So what are the changes that parents need to be aware of? Because I can guarantee you, without any shadow of doubt, many parents are thinking old model, but now things have changed. So what are the significant changes that need to be pointed out so that parents are not hit by Alama ya mshangao.
Well, I think the first big one parents need to know is that the 2021 calendar year will have 4 school terms.
Wow.
Not 3.
Not 3, yes.
Not 3. Okay? So I guess those who are in the public sector and there's no school fees manenos, they can feel a bit sorted.
Yeah.
Those in the private sector, they pay per term. So 2021, 2022 will have 4 school terms.
Yes.
Okay? And so when we begin next year, we begin with term 2. Because we stopped just at the end of term 1.
Yeah.
So we begin with term 2 in January, close in March for the 7 weeks.
Yes.
So that the candidates, can do their exams.
Can do the exams.
Then then we go to term 3 in May, which then will end in July. And then the 2021 school year actually starts in July.
Wow.
So all the, if somebody is going to the next class, they will be going to the next class in July.
In July.
Yeah. If those who are in PP2 going to class 1, they will be going in July. So what parents need to know is that the next year, the school year for next year starts in July. Because January and May will be making up for 2020.
Yes. I think the biggest disruption is the whole issue of the class 8 form 4 exams happening somewhere near the middle of the year, because we are so used to end of year, alafu wanakula Christmas, alafu wanapata results, and then we begin thinking next year, where are you going? So this one is going to be very different.
It's going to be very different, but then I think naturally we need to know that in our setting, school exams have to happen close to a holiday, because then the marking centers are schools.
Very true.
So there's really no other way this could have been done. The exams have to be done then, so that then the marking happens, and then the whole story of the selection and all that happens, and then the new school year, even for those class 8s, would then begin in July.
So
so I think the reset is that 2021 school year starts in July. What we should have done in 2020, we will do by May next year.
Yes. In fact, I was going to say, I think as parents, we also need to recognize that when the Form 4s and the Class 8s do the exams, that will be the longest holiday next year. I think it's about how many weeks? Is it 7 weeks? Or is it 6 weeks?
Yes. It will be 7 weeks.
7 weeks.
From March 20th to May 9th.
Lakini after hiyo holidays zingine ni fupi sana.
Nakwambia ni wiki moja. Now that's where the strain will come in.
Yes.
Yeah.
And for me, that calls of a lot of adjustments on both, actually the teachers, the parents, and also the students, because we have a rhythm that we have been used to. And so for you as a person who's passionate about education, you are a mother, you are a teacher, as a parent, what do I need to start thinking about now, so that I prepare myself and I also begin to prepare my children, because next year will not be business as usual?
Well, I think that the biggest thing will be to start thinking how we are going to manage stress for the children.
Okay.
How are we going to manage stress? How are we going to make sure we are not putting any extra demand? The school calendar itself next year will be demanding enough.
Yes.
So parents will have to think, how do they minimize, stressful situations for children, or even lower their demands and expectations. And teachers will begin to think how do they just make this difficult year a little more comfortable for the children, because we can end up with some real crisis.
Yes.
Yeah.
And for me, that's what I'm afraid of, because you see, looking at this year has been very slow. Children have been, we've tried online. For some people, online has worked, but I think for the majority, online has not worked. So our children have been home basically the whole year. And then we are taking them from that environment without preparing them. And then we are taking them into the next year, which is a crash program, 4 terms. Will they manage, or are we biting more than we can chew?
I mean, asking me that, James.
Yes.
For me, I would say I wish we could do it another way. I wish we could play this catch up another way,
Yes.
because I think it can. I think it would be possible to play it out another way, especially because we probably are trying to fit back into the old set.
Yes.
And in my head, I'm thinking, honestly, what's wrong with just going on? Catch up what you can, but let life just, after a 10-week term, a 1-week holiday, really?
Yes.
After 10, so children who are used to holiday, you shall go, those things parents have to realize it will not be feasible, and they cannot even think about it.
Wow.
Without mentioning, Pastor James, that there could still be disruption. I mean, we are not in control of this COVID story. We are not in control.
Wow. We are also joined by Peter Munga. Peter Munga, how are you doing? Education advocate. Karibu sana. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. Can you hear me?
I'm here. Kwani unaenda wapi? Naona uko kwa gari. Unaenda safari ya wapi na umeniacha hapa?
No, what has happened that I'm on call, eh?
Okay.
And I've enjoyed listening to Madame as she speaks and lays the facts bare. The truth of the matter is, what she may not have mentioned is that as we get into 2021, 2022, we're talking about a political year in this country.
Very true.
There'll be a lot of political activities.
Yes.
Yes, a lot of political activities in this country. We are talking about the BBI, maybe a referendum. We talk about elections, presidential elections, and all general elections. And if you look at that school calendar, you will notice that in August 2022, the students will only have 1 week holiday.
Yes.
August 2022, the year that we are supposed to elect a president. Honestly, schools are the ones that are used as voting centers.
Yes.
So it simply means this calendar cannot just work. It cannot just work. 1 week. What about if they decide to go to the Supreme Court? What if they decide to do Machozi Monday and Machozi Tuesday and run around on the street? What will happen to us? We cannot have schools when people are running on the streets. So we needed some holiday, proper holiday in these election years to give the political class their time to do their politics in our schools. That's what I can add. Again.
In fact, oh my goodness, Peter, you've brought in
that's a spanner. That's a
spanner in the works right there, because I had not factored in the whole issue of a possible referendum next year.
Me too.
Yes.
And I don't think it's included in that calendar, is it?
It's not included. We have looked at it, it's not included.
Yes.
And apart from that also, when you look at that calendar properly, the reason why I'm a teacher, I've been a teacher, I told you, for several years now. The reason why we came up with holidays, long holidays, is because students can ban us in those schools if you don't give them breaks.
Yes.
We have had students banning dormitories.
Yes.
We've had students coming for our cars, like this beautiful car I'm in. Students just come and ban it, because they are stressed.
Wow.
So, Pastor James, we need those breaks. We need a break. Students need to go home. They need to go and see their parents, go to eat chapati. They need to go and listen to the most recent music. When they come back, they're fresh. They can now learn. In boarding schools, you can't keep a child for 20 weeks running, 30 weeks running. You can't. I've taught in boarding schools. You can't. They'll come and ban the school. They'll ban the dorm. They'll ban our cars. So these breaks are psychological.
Okay.
They're meant to work on the psychology of the child.
Yes.
They're meant to make the child feel, okay, my parents also have an input in my life. And it's a good way to make the parents also to parent their children. When you give a break, you allow the parents also to put their input in the child's life. Not only teachers, but also the parents have a role to play in the raising up of our children. Yes.
Wow. So with all these factors, I'm just wondering, is it possible that this thing will be changed again? Because we've seen quite a number of changes here, there, everywhere. Just the whole angle of the referendum, first of all, for me, it makes me realize that there could possibly be another change. I don't know what you think, Tabitha.
Well, James, even without the political aspect,
yeah,
there is no guarantee that schools will open on January 4th.
Okay.
And I think if we are listening to the CS Health, then we are hearing him say that. But sometimes when we want something to work so hard, we don't want to listen to other things.
Okay.
And I think that is the spirit behind this calendar. CS is saying, okay, but please, just remember,
yes.
that like now the curfew, this whole curfew story is going to end when? It's ending in January. They haven't even checked, are we okay, are we not?
Yes.
And also, what happens, we've had a small run with the class 4, class 8 in school.
Yeah.
And we have seen what's happening, children test positive, quarantining, some are sent home. There's disruption, 14 days, 21 days. Those things must be taken into account.
In fact, you've brought in a very interesting angle, because I've also been wondering with the class 4 and class 8 in school, are we going to do a review, and the Form 4, are we going to do a review to see how this has worked out as we get into next year? Because I experienced the same thing. My son, they were supposed to go back to school. Some parents were a bit apprehensive about it. And then all of a sudden, 1 week after they'd gone back to school, we are told, keep your children home for another 14 days. Because apparently, there was somebody tested positive. I think one of the parents of the children in the school, and they reported to the school, hey, my child will not come because I have tested positive, so my child may expose others. And so all of us were sent home for 14 days. And I kept
because you're all contact.
Exactly. We'll talk about that shortly. We'll talk about that shortly, because we are presented with a situation that's it's never happened before, and I think we need to have this conversation so that we can find a way forward. And one of my cries is that parents would be involved in these conversations and not just sit and wait to be told, do this or do that, because it's our children, and I believe we can put our heads together and come up with brilliant ideas. It's 21 minutes after 8. It is Parenting Tuesday. We are talking about the new school calendar and how it affects you as a parent and your child. If everything works out the way it's been laid out, it means January the 4th, children are supposed to be reporting back to school, but the school calendar is very different. Have you understood it? What does that mean to you and to your child? Karibu sana, Parenting Tuesday, new school calendar. Mzazi, do you understand it? Are you prepared? Are our children prepared? Or are we biting more than we can chew? That's what we are discussing today. In studio with us via Zoom, I have education advocate Peter Amunga, and also Tabitha Ogango, who's a teacher and an entrepreneur, and she's passionate about education. And your comments are coming through via 20316. Mzazi, I need to know what you're thinking about this whole discussion. WhatsApp number as well, 0786 316 316. I have a comment here that says, I think what we should do is have the schools have 2 terms only next year, in January and May. Class 8 to do their exams in August. All is not well because we have sick teachers and learners, yet no one seems to care about those ones. I don't know what you think, Tabitha or Peter. What do you think about that comment?
That comment is valid. And if you heard me, I said, instead of trying to get back to our January to December school calendar, it is possible to say, guys, you don't even need to explain too much. Everybody knows that it is nobody's fault that life has been disrupted.
Yes.
And there are other ways we can play catch up, other than trying to fix everything into the academic year.
Okay.
There are options. We can teachers are professionals. If you told teachers we need to do 2 years curriculum within this, how do we do it?
Yes.
Because there is concept that runs from 1 year to another by graduation. You can easily merge that. And see how do you cover content that some is covered in Form 1, some is covered in Form 2. How do you merge that? So I think there should be a more academic thinking about the curriculum delivery, as opposed to thinking that we must stick with our 3 terms to be able to do what we needed to do. The other thing that hasn't been factored in, James, is that usually when children go away for 2 months, when they come back, the kind of the kind of retake, revision.
Yes.
And even those who went back, the class 8s and 4s, teachers will tell you they couldn't believe what they found when the children came in.
Oh, really?
Even those who had continued with some virtual kind of learning. So that's another unrealistic point of this calendar, the assumption that we are going to start January and we go into term 2 content and clear it within 11 weeks. So yes, I agree. I mean, if we did 2 terms, you know, space them out, have you know, it really, we don't lose anything.
Wow.
Yeah.
Peter Munga, I'm just wondering, looking at the situation that we are facing now where COVID-19 is concerned, and we are in December right now, are we prepared even in terms of having all our children go back to school? Looking at the preparedness that was set in place when we had the grade 4s and the form 4s and the class 8s going, now having the whole clan go back to school, do you think we are prepared for that? That's in another 30, 34 days.
Yes, I'm sorry, I've had a problem trying to make sure that I'm in a place where you can see me clearly.
Yes.
But let me say something. You are right. The calendar that we're talking about, you know, a calendar is not about just the children. A calendar, school calendar, I've said it before in this program, is enshrined in the Constitution of Kenya.
Yes.
That's why we have dates that are in our Constitution, dates, you know, that we must follow as a country. And those dates are very important for our nation.
Yes.
So what I'm saying is we always need an input from everyone in this country when we talk about a school calendar. And we need everybody on board. Parents are stakeholders.
Yeah.
We need also the children, the learners. You know, we never give a voice to these learners. We have had a problem when it comes to allowing our children to say something. Most times we speak on their behalf, and that's why we're having problems with them. That's why you're seeing them going for those night parties. We are not giving our children a voice. What do they want also? As much as we have a pandemic with us, do our children also feel that they need some support, some help? That is where the problem is right now. So I want to say that let us allow everybody to come on board so that we can all speak as one voice. Yes.
Okay. But supposing things stay as is, and we have,
they will not, but carry on with that thought.
Tabitha, I like your faith and confidence.
You.
But supposing
supposing
they do, for me, I'm just thinking about the parent and this child who has to go back to school. I mean, I saw, we were in a parents' meeting with teachers, and I saw real fear in some parents as we were discussing this whole issue of going back to school, whether do we want to do it, don't we want to do it. I mean, I could see real fear, and I'm thinking with the way the numbers are, so supposing things stay as is, do parents really have any options? If we have to go back to school on the 4th of January and all my children have to go to school, they have to use public transport, there's so many variables in here. Are there other options? Ama hii ndio iko na tutafanya tu hivyo?
There are no options. There are no options.
Yes.
For the majority, there are no options.
There are no options. You will have to go to school on that date. The only problem is, and which we must, I like Tabitha has really brought it up so well, is what happens? Are we really a serious nation? Do we really keep promises? Do we keep our words?
Yeah.
It boils down to us as a nation called Kenya. Are we serious? Do we take things seriously? Or do we do things for political expediency, for people just to be happy, to be seen to be working? Do we do things to really with our future in mind? And it boils down to us as our fabric as Kenyans.
Yes.
You know, Pastor James, I normally say we are so hypocritical, many of us, as leaders, as educationists, as parents. We don't say what we mean, and we don't mean what we say. So as Tabitha says, and as Mutahi Kagwe said, this calendar is not cast in stone. You can be very sure it will be changed. But when they decide when you have to take your child to school, you have no choice. Your child will have to go to school that day. That's how we are as a country.
Wow, but
this situation needs to have taught the parents of Kenya to bring their voice to the table. Because I have also been very concerned about, parents who wait, serikali imesema.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm thinking, surely this is my child, and by the way, like when the class 4s and 8s went, there are some parents, although few, who did take their children back.
Yes.
There are some children who decide, and that is a small percentage who thought, maybe this is the time to go into the international kind of schooling. But again, that has a cost implication.
Very true.
But in terms of public education being the choice and what is available for everyone, the voice of the parent in this nation has been lacking in many ways. One of the questions I've wanted a parent to ask is that if there is 100% transition from primary to high school, why are we so dying with this class 8 exam?
Yeah.
Why can't somebody find another way of placement? What stops the nation from finding another way? Again, it is an issue of, we want to say, so who will go to the good schools and who will go to the bad schools?
Yeah.
That's why we are holding our class 8s ransom. If you ask me why class 4s are doing an assessment, I'll tell you I don't understand why I would subject my class 4 in this pandemic to the kind of things they're being subjected to when their class 6, 7 siblings are at home.
Yes.
So the parents' voice needs to get up in this nation.
But you see, Tabitha, we have our parents-teacher associations in our schools. Actually, our parents don't even attend those meetings many times. In public schools, especially in public schools, you call for a PTA meeting, they don't come. We have somebody called Nicholas Maiyo, Tabitha. He's the chairman. He's the chairman of all parents in Kenya. I normally meet him in some studios when I go for this kind of interviews.
Yes.
And I tell him, I didn't even elect you. I don't know you, Nicholas Maiyo. You speak for which parents? I don't know you. I'm a parent. I've been a parent for so many years right now.
Yes.
Now, the issue is this. Actually, as you put it, the day our parents will get a voice.
Yes.
Melinda Gates, the wife to Bill Gates. She once visited some school here in one of our slums here in Nairobi, and she told the parents, who are mainly mothers, they were, mothers, she told them, Belinda told them, find your voices. Ladies, find your voices. Speak out what you want for your child's future. And I think that's what Tabitha is trying to say, that if we don't find our voices as parents, as Kenyans, about the future of our children, somebody else in some office in Jogo House will decide for us. Somebody else will decide for us whose child is not even in our system of education, whose child finished school long time ago. Professor Magoha, our CS for education, does not have any child in our system, doesn't. And I don't think he'll have one in the near future because at his age, he does not have that kind of child now.
Yes.
So he has to decide for you. And if you don't find your voice to tell him, Prof, this one you're not right. Here, Prof, can we do things differently? Then things will be unfortunate. I just want to add something. I've been going to the office this morning, and why I'm looking a bit disorganized this morning is because a teacher has collapsed and died in a school. I don't want to say the name or the school.
Oh, my goodness.
But this COVID thing is there, Pastor James.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been reporting on my blogs about teachers dying.
Yes.
We now have got 36 teachers. Heads of school are now 20. Heads of schools who have died of COVID. And our union, NAT, and Kenya Women Teachers Association, now is reporting 66 teachers who have died of COVID-19.
Wow.
Our kids are asymptomatic. They come to school when they are not, they don't have the symptoms.
Yes.
But we teachers, most of us, our ages, most teachers, because TSC has not been recruiting young teachers for a long time. Most of us are 50 and above. Now, many of us have underlying conditions.
Yes.
And there's little testing going on in our schools for COVID-19. Actually, no testing is going on. So the kids come to school, they give us the disease, we remain with it, and many of us are actually passing. So I'm talking about 20 principals of schools. I'm now talking about 66 classroom, ordinary teachers who have gone. And most of them, we're not hearing it on media because, you know, testing is not in those rural areas. There's no testing going on in West Pokot. Let me tell you the truth. But the disease is already there. There's no testing going on in Kakamega, Salaba, and those places where I come from. No testing is going on. But the disease is in schools. There are no masks. The government hasn't provided masks for the public primary school children. No masks in high schools. Around 23 schools, high schools, have been turned into isolation centers, whereby the kids are put in a dorm and they are being taken care of with some health officers. In some schools, even parents are not informed because they don't want to cause panic. Media is not allowed in because we don't want to cause panic. You don't want to behave like things are normal. So what's happening, my brother James and my sister Tabitha, is, and I want to say it on this national TV, this pandemic is now in our schools. And if you're not talking about safety of your child in that school, and safety of the teacher who is teaching in that school, you are in a problem. We are in a problem.
Oh my goodness. Parents, I need you to respond this morning. Menyamaza sana wazazi. I know you're watching and I know you're listening. So parents, we need this culture of not asking questions and not challenging authority, so to speak, when they are wrong, is a culture we need to break. You know, it baffles me. You know, I was sharing about how the other day we were having a parents-teachers meeting on Zoom, and I was so baffled because teachers have to ask like 3 or 4 times, parents, do you have anything to say? Parents, do you have anything to say? No one wants to say anything. But then when we go home, we want to complain, and our children hear us complaining. But when we have the platform to be able to speak, we rarely speak. We need to break that culture. Parents, I need to hear from you. 20316 is my SMS line, and my WhatsApp number is 0786 316 316. Please share your thoughts about the reopening of schools on the 4th of January. What does that mean to you? What are some of the concerns that you have? What are some of the conversations you've been having? We want to hear from you. We're focusing on the new school calendar. Is it practical? Are you prepared for it as a parent? Are your children prepared? Are our teachers prepared? Even looking at how the COVID-19 pandemic has affected our education system. And talking about matters COVID-19, Eden Tea cares for you and me, and that's why Eden Tea are reminding us together we can flatten this curve. We need to remember to do the small things that are going a long way in helping us to flatten this curve. Put on your face mask when you're out there interacting with other people. Also ensure you wash your hands with soap and running water. Tusichoke kuosha mikono. Washing hands with soap and water saves lives, I'm telling you. Keep doing it. Sanitize if you can. And then also interpersonal distance. Let's remember these 3 simple things that are helping us to flatten the curve. Eden Tea is available at leading outlets. Quite a number of flavors. Eden green tea, Eden purple tea, Eden ginger tea, Eden lemon tea, Eden premium tea. With Eden Tea, you can never go wrong. Kama unapenda chai kama mimi, try Eden Tea. You will not be disappointed. This morning, Peter Amunga, education advocate, joining us in studio via Zoom, and also Tabitha Ogango, a teacher, entrepreneur, mother, musician. She's all things to all men. Tabitha uko na titles mingi, si unigawie zingine.
Oh, really?
Let's talk about parents, because we've come in with this angle of parents, and I want to pursue it further, about parents getting a voice. What is it that parents must do? Because I'm thinking, in life we have those moments that are opportunities to change your future. And for me, I think the COVID-19 pandemic is such a moment for us to change quite a number of things about how we do life and the systems that we have. So what is it that parents must do in this season to get that voice?
Yes, I don't know if, let me see that Tabitha will finish it. But, you know, as parents, getting a voice is not easy for Kenyan parents because, you know, we have into this thing called free things, free school fees, you know, free school.
Yeah.
The government, the politicians, when they come in, they hoodwink us with some manifestos and they say, from next year, all your child will have a laptop in standard 1. So, you know, as parents, we are already put into some corner, some cocoon, that I must behave, you know, I must look nice. I must you are put in some straight jacket. So you start behaving like, you are a beggar, you will be given free school fees. Your child will go to school free. You hear this, I don't know, a laptop your child will get. So you start thinking that if I start raising my hand to question, I may look bad and my child may lose his or her position in school. So this thing has made parents in Kenya to feel intimidated, to be put in some straitjacket, because politicians have a way of putting us in that kind of situation. When they promise you these freebies, you start thinking that it is free after all. Malia Uma. You remember those days, Pastor James and our listeners, when we used to have public toilets,
Yes.
So, Choya Uma, you don't really care which corner you go or what happens, So, as parents, we start thinking, ni shule ya Uma, shule ya public. Serikali will take care of it, you know. Free fees, they pay teachers, they do what? They make sure there's water. So, what's my role? My role is just to give birth and to take the child to school. And that's why we go wrong. We go wrong. And just to end it up on that point is, parents, most of our Kenyan parents are not taxpayers. You, James, and maybe Tabi and myself, we pay tax through very many ways, okay? Our salaries are deducted. So we have this feeling that we want to be accountable. Why are you cutting my money? So I'm sorry to use the word cutting, deducting my money.
Yes.
I'm a real lawyer. Why are you deducting my money?
Wamekata mshahara.
Unanikata mshahara. Why are you deducting my money? And you're not making good use of my taxes.
Yes.
But you see, most of our parents, I have been a teacher for many years. Many of our parents are so ignorant about anything that goes on in terms of funding of schools, money, where the money comes from. And because many of them don't really pay the tax, what I call pay as you earn. Many of us are jobless. We don't have the money. So we don't really bother to ask why. And those who pay taxes, like you and I, and Tabi here, we take our children to private schools. And now it's in private schools that maybe we start questioning, why has this not been done? But in public schools, nothing is going on from the parents' level. I can assure you that.
Wow. Tabitha, what do you think?
Oh, and really, that is correct. And sadly, it's the public schools that are the majority.
Yes.
And even now, by the way, before I go on to what parents can do, if the private schools were allowed to carry on, they would have carried on fully, digitally.
Yes.
They would have. I mean, private schools that are running the public curriculum, if nobody stood in their way, their clients, their children would have learned digitally, effectively. But you see, because they are running the public government-controlled curriculum, they had to stop doing what was required. And I mean, this perspective is correct. And unfortunately, maybe there is not much, because a parent who feels they owe the school, oh, you've taken my child, you're helping my child, what can they do? So
a beggar has no choice.
So the responsibility, for the activism or the advocacy actually sits with those of us who have a voice.
Okay.
So that like now when we have those associations, it just, they need to come out and speak for them, because actually they are voiceless. I've never seen it that way, but I've realized, I mean, how do I take my child to a public school? By the way, some of them, even when the child is being mistreated, quote unquote, cannot say anything, because it's such a favor for my child to go to school.
Oh my goodness.
But then now for me, let me say, for the parents who have a voice, because they are there, it is wrong. I mean, if your child is in a private school, I mean, for me, I would have expected in this season, parents of children in private schools to speak a little more. And you see, when they start moving, they will then put the right pressure for the government to do the same kind of things for the public school.
Yes.
But you see, if we all sit down, even the private schools sit down and say, Serikali imesema, who is going to give movement in the right direction that then puts proper pressure for the government to say, oh, if they can do it, oh, we are government, we can do better.
Yes.
Yes. I just want to add something. I know our time is running. Another thing that when Tabi was speaking and I've just caught is this. You remember those days when we had the Kenya Highs, the State House girls, the Changerians,
yes.
Those schools.
Pole pole. I went to one of those. You know.
You went to a lot of these schools.
I know the one you went to.
Now,
nice.
Yes, I'm talking about the Bishop Katimu Ngandu.
Yes.
You know, those schools, even Nairobi Primary, what happened those days?
Yeah.
Government didn't have much control in fee collection. You know, like say Kenya High was called a high-cost public school. You know, the parents were called upon to add some little money for their children to have some little luxury, you know, a better school bus, a better mattress, you know, something better. So when your child went to say the changes or to Lenana High, as a parent, you are now a responsibility to pull up your socks because if your child is at Lenana, we go for a parents meeting at Lenana High, you meet the who is who in this country. And they also tell you, man, if you have brought your child here, you have to behave. You have to, your child is not changes, you know. The Kakamega government school, I taught there. The government school Kakamega, you know, the people bringing their children to Bunyore girls.
Where?
Once you arrive at Bunyore, you get there's a tradition at Bunyore, at Butere girls, at Kisumu girls. That tradition is the parents who will set it with the teachers. And so when you bring your child in the first meeting, the parents are told, mtoto wako amekuja Nairobi Primary. Hapa watoto wetu wanaendanga swimming on Wednesday. Hapa watoto wetu wanakulanga chai. Hapa walimu tunapelekanga Mombasa every December. Kenya High used to take their children to Dubai. Kenya High. If the teachers will go to Dubai when the results come out and they're good, courtesy of parents. You know, I'm talking to parents.
Motivation. We call it motivation.
Yes. But when this thing came about, it came during Matiang'i's time, when he was the cabinet minister. And he said, don't charge any extra coin. I will sue you. You will be demoted as a teacher. Before you levy any levies, extra levies, you must pass through Jogo House. We must stamp it. We must approve it. So Kenya High, the hands got tied. Same to all these schools that you know. Because now what parents were told, kazi yako ni kuleta tu mtoto. Matiang'i and the government will do everything. So all you do is bring your child. Now, when your child goes to say to Kenya High, the standards have gone down. Because what you saw in Kenya High in the 90s, it's not there what you will see there today. Students are even sleeping in the abolition blocks. There are no dorms. The space for sleeping is not enough. But you see, parents are not aware.
They're privileged to be in Kenya High. They're privileged.
They are saying, mtoto wangu wako Kenya High, and the government is paying. So why should I talk?
Oh my goodness.
I rest my case.
You've thrown a whole spanner in the works.
Let us have Kenyan parents find their own way. Find your way. Find your way to ask questions. Find your way to say, I am concerned about this. I mean, which parent in Kenya right now? Okay, the other bit that I found very strange is that I try to tell parents, is it really safe to send children to school? By the way, what shocked me, I found many parents who said, let children go to school. How long are we going to sit with them?
Tumechoka nao hapa nyumbani.
Now, what's that?
Yeah. Wow.
Those are not parents who are going to cause change. Those ones want to be bullied, and so they can carry on.
Let me read some comments as we finish because our time is up. This one says, for someone who has gone through a crash program in campus, the exhaustion, the pressure, the burnout, parents and children have no idea what they're getting themselves into. Nobody is ready. This other one says, majority of the parents are ignorant. These free things are not free because it's taxpayers' money. They also pay tax in one way or another. Look at how the CS's pronouncement that no child will be sent home due to fees. Now these parents in the local schools have not yet even paid fees. And then Patricia also said, I feel sad for the Form 3s and below. The only thing that's keeping me going positively is that my child is now in Form 4 and we are about done with this uncertain education system. I know there are good international schools out there that don't charge an arm and a leg, but the issue is getting a slot for your preferred class. That's where the struggle is. God knows all these things. I hope we go through all of it with grace. Parting shot, Tabitha, as we finish.
Well, I think to everyone listening, the parents and education stakeholders, what I would say is that let's all just realize that we are not in control.
Yes.
And so even giving us a calendar for 3 years, I think was already so ambitious. I mean, who wanted a calendar for 3 years? It is better to do it 1 year and say we will review as we go.
Yeah.
You can have your blueprint for your strategic plan for 5-10 years. That's fine. But I would want to just say, let everybody out there know that there's going to be change. So don't get frustrated when the change comes. You know, just expect it and begin to think, what are you going to do? And how are you going to help the children not to feel like their lives have gotten stuck? You know, we need to help the children not to get into desperation. And the lower they are in the social strata, the more the desperation. You know, so let's think about, the children out there now who probably are even, girls are getting married and thinking this thing is over. I mean, a lot of things. Somebody needs to speak hope to the children of Kenya.
Very true. Peter Amunga, parting shot.
Yes, parents, you must have heard about this letter a girl from Machakos, was it Machakos County, called Philomena, wrote to the president, requesting the president for fees. You know, she said she's a bright girl. She had not gone to school. She had been chased out of school. That letter was an eye-opener for you parents and for me as an education advocate, because it made us realize that, first of all, there's nothing like free education. That girl wrote to the president to say, I am at home, I've been sent home because of school fees. There's nothing like government paying school fees for her. Yeah. She wanted the president to intervene. Number two, what it taught us, and parents should learn, that the girl found a voice. If you are not aware, everybody came out and now paid her fees, including the Machakos governor. For 4 years, she will never be, they say they pay up to her university fee. So finding your voice as a parent is very important. And number three, parents. It means this child must have had parents, but the parents were doing nothing about her being at home. She had to take the responsibility, a small young girl of 16 years old. That's a challenge to us parents. We are there, we are adults, we know there is CDF, there is bursaries, there is governor of Machakos, there's a president, there's a Ministry of Education, but we do nothing about it. We let a 16-year-old girl to take control and move the president to pay her fees. Where were you as a parent? What were you doing about it? That is my challenge. That's my parting shot.
Wow. Peter Munga, Tabitha Ogango, asanteni sana. Thank you for always availing yourself anytime I call on you to have these serious discussions. Mbarikiwe sana.
Amen.
That's all the time we have. Mzazi, find your voice. Uwache kukaa kama maji ya nyungu. Umenyamaza tu uko ndani umejifungia kwa giza. No, we need to arise and we need to say something. These are our children. May it not be that when they are big, they blame us for not speaking on their behalf. We have a voice. Let's speak on the behalf of our children. For
this and more of our shows, log on to www.familymediaonline.com to enjoy a wide variety of programs, from current affairs to testimonials and features, pastoral and inspirational shows, kids entertainment, and so much more. Also stream live on www.familymedia.tv.